Tomorrow, May 9, on Monday, Palantir will report earnings for the first quarter of 2022. Now, I'm going to share with you in this video what I believe could be one of the two scenarios that we could kind of brace ourselves for if we own AMC stock like I do. Now, the problem with Palantir is everybody has kind of high expectations when it comes to such a company. Why? Because this is a company that was existing for the last 10 plus years, but has just been trading publicly in the market for the last year. So there is a high level of expectations given the potential, huge potential of what this company can do as far as growth is concerned. Now, for some, I will say bulls, there is no question about how, hyper growth of a company Palantir could be, delivering 30% growth year after year. These are the words of, Peter Thiel himself, that Palantir should be expecting, or at least they're committing the company to deliver that kind of growth. The thing is, these current market conditions with interest rates increasing, it's kind of not in favor of such companies. That being said, by looking at two major things that I believe, should be in focus and what the street will be looking at when it comes to those earnings, which could potentially push the share price of this stock a little bit higher. Because right now, I think it's way oversold a little bit, but it's not. It doesn't mean that, we are kind of out of the weight when it comes to this, maybe trading below $8 or $7 a piece. Now, if I share with you, if you look at Yahoo Finance, all right, this is kind of the earnings expectations for Palantir. Now, we have about this revenue estimate, all right, and you can see for March, June, and the current year 2022 and next year, the average estimate, it's kind of bullish. We're talking about growth here. I can see moving from 443 million this quarter, and next quarter 483, and for the whole year 2 billion, and the year after that 2.6. So we're talking about some decent level of growth, which is kind of around the 30% I was talking about earlier. That is the average estimate, but the high estimate, it's a little bit above that, but still in line with at least an average 30 to 35% growth when it comes to revenue. But the big thing for Palantir is compensation, package, and also kind of tied to this one, cost. If they are able to kind of keep the cost in check while growth in terms of expanding within the commercial space and the government space, as we heard for the last 2 weeks, they've been securing some additional contracts or at least getting extensions in some other within the government space. The main question for some of the bears are about how can they make sure, or how a Palantir can make sure they improve the customer acquisition when it comes to the commercial space, which I believe Palantir is also working hard on doing so. But given also the fact that Palantir has been hiring a lot of people since the beginning of this year, that's where I'm a little bit worried, because it means costs are going higher. But if costs are going higher in line with revenues, so that it will not be as bad as the market is maybe expecting it, or will not be shocking, then whenever with these current market conditions, the price should at least get a little bit of a lift. Now, before I leave this video, guys, something to also keep in mind. One of the major shareholders who left is obviously Cathie Woot, and she left right after last earnings. And since then, the share price have been, as I mentioned, in the trash. Now, if these earnings show some levels of confidence into sustainable growth ahead, then I believe potentially Cathie Woot could come back given the low prices that we're seeing in Palantir now. All right. That being said, it doesn't have to happen necessarily, because, again, looking at these market conditions, things are kind of gloomy and doomy as far as growth stocks are concerned. But I do believe that Palantir is one of those part of this pocket of quality stocks, even within the tech sector, because of this growth into earnings, as far as costs are kept in check. So that will be the three main things I'll be looking at for these earnings. And Let's just see how it holds and it unfolds when they release this tomorrow.